we're going to move on from that then to something, well, to be honest, wasn't doing a great deal better in the whole what the hell's going on at Y front, but at least it was a bit more enjoyable. Scott,
Yes.
The Night Comes for Us.
Yes, so like last month's Mandy, The Night came for us on the back of a wave of positive Twitter takes, although with more of a hard-hitting chop socky vibe rather than a my brain has melted in Nick Cage's incredible/terrible/incredibly terrible feelings that Mandy provoked.
Terribly incredible.
Yes. You may be asking, dear listener, why I'm talking so much about Mandy in an introductory paragraph for a different film. And, well, spoilers is because there's not really all that much of interest in The Night Comes for Us. Now, recapping the plot would be a little difficult for reasons I'll get to, but the short of it is that Elite Triad Enforcer Ito, played by Joe Talsum, has a very sudden change of heart in the middle of a good old-fashioned village massacre and decides to protect the last surviving child, performing a counter-massacre on his former Triad buddies. Injured, he returns home to Jakarta with a kid, holding up in his old girlfriend's apartment. Spooked, she calls in the old gang of street criminals he used to run with before he was elevated to this elite henchman position. This turn of events doesn't go down too well with Triad Lieutenant Chen Wu, played by Sonny Pang, who orders that Ito be captured alongside anyone who gets in their way, enlisting Ito's former fellow gang member Aryan, played by Iko Uwais, with the task alongside Chen Wu's own trusted band of weirdos. Cue a bunch of fighting and shooting in what's as much of an action movie as a martial arts one. Unfortunately, though, not a particularly good one. I like to pretend to myself that I'm moderately clever, but following what was going on here and why was entirely beyond me. Now, to a degree, plot's immaterial in this sort of thing. The best Tony Jaa film is about a man trying to reclaim an elephant, but there is a sort of basic overall coherence and some sort of character motivation that's required as a bare minimum, and even with allowance for genre conventions, The Night Comes for Us spectacularly anti-hurdles this lowest possible bar. For example, a character appears out of nowhere. Literally, she walks in out of the mist, and her interest in proceedings is never explained, nor is she even named, but seemingly because by that point they'd killed off all bar one of the protagonists and just wanted to have some more fight scenes. And even then, those fight scenes, which should be this movie's saving grace, are mostly just okay. The most remarkable thing about them would be the level of graphic violence on display. This film makes no compromises and sometimes feels more like a body horror than an action film. Mm-hmm. And I won't deny there's a certain amount of enjoyment to be had from the extremity of that in a genre that's so often PG-friendly.
Yeah, but for the first hour.
Yes, but that's maybe 10 minutes or so of the film, and the rest is an utter chore. A lot of the action is filmed quite flatly, which is perhaps initially a welcome change from the shaky cam-obsessed modernity, but it soon feels quite stodgy. And the remainder of the film is a half dozen good ideas for a fight sequences, a half dozen ideas for nice visuals, and the rest of the film appears to be randomly generated from plot strands from other genres and stock photography of the world's dullest warehouses. In conclusion, I award this Watch Mandy out of 10.
Well, largely agree with all of that. It's unnecessarily long, particularly given it's a film that has no plot. And again, another film we watched in the same location this time, and we're both kind of like, who's she? Why is this happening? Why are they in their fifth language now?
Yes.
It's the point when like they suddenly to the character start speaking French. What? Why?
No call for it. I mean, the plot's an absolute convoluted mess for no good reason.
Yeah.
In particular, trying to work out. It seems like it's one big get out. Is that scene where they cut back to Chen Wu explaining something? I think it was to Aryan, who's basically saying, "Oh, in the end, I'm just trying to sow chaos. So apparently, so someone can come in and take over." So I go, "Okay, so that's your excuse for all your actions making no sense." And you stating an aim and then immediately doing things that are entirely counter to that aim. It's like, just daft. It's one of these things, it's not really plot twists, it's just like a big lump of plot spaghetti that's dumped out onto a plate and it's like, here, deal with this. It's like, I don't want to deal with that. I just wanted to see some heads getting staved in, and you don't even do that particularly well. So,
and they added sort of the cliche thing of, oh, you're being played by this other gangster thing. Like, really? I'm not quite sure how this works out, but okay. But but also have not really done any establishing of that character anyway. And then at the end of the film, where it's like you understand what's happening right at the final scene, but it doesn't actually make any sense, because unless a hugely crippled person can move several miles in 30 seconds or whatever, it's not feasible. But when the focus of a film like this is the fight scenes, but yeah, they just get tremendously samey after a while. They're just gory for the sake of being gory. Like, the martial arts stuff isn't particularly interesting. It's people just taking a lot of punishment.
Yeah.
Like a lot of punishment.
Yes.
An unfeasible amount of punishment, just so you can have lots of broken limbs and razor blades across faces and pools of blood. And yeah, you're right about the visuals too. I'm not a fan of the hyperkinetic editing and shaky cam of something like the fight scenes in the Bourne films in particular. Like, can you not just keep it still for a bit to have any idea what's happening at all, please? Whereas I think perhaps this film goes a bit too far in the other extreme, is that a lot of the scenes are just very statically shot. And the other thing,
I do wonder if I didn't actually check what budget this is, but I don't think it's particularly high, right? And it did seem like maybe they just didn't have enough cameras to go around. It's like they just put one in the corner of the room and had to make do.
I mean, that's feasible, yeah. But you could have done something a bit more interesting. And it's not just the actual editing or the camera work, it's the actual sets as well. There are a couple of, and they're not particularly original, but there are a couple of kind of moody scenes of neon lights and light filtering through glass bricks and stuff that just creates a couple of moody shots. But for the most part, it's all shot in very, well, I should say, Scott, warehouses. There's a lot of warehouses in this film, because warehouses are cheap, I know, but a lot of very flat lighting, fluorescent overhead lights and things, and it's visually unappealing. And you add to that the fact that you don't know what's going on or why, and that the fights just go on unnecessarily long, and it's actually kind of a chore to get through.
Yeah.
There are some really entertaining bits in it, and some of the fights are quite impressive, and kudos to them for going all in on the blood and gore, because they've done quite a lot of it, but I'm not sure it's to any particular useful end. It doesn't stop.
Yeah.
I'd have to agree, watch Mandy out of 10, because even if you don't like Mandy, which I can certainly understand, because I don't like Mandy but also like Mandy, it's one of those films, it is at least interesting.
Yeah.
And also Nick Cage.
Yes. There's probably a very enjoyable 10-minute cut of this film, like it's just some sort of super cut that will appear at some point on YouTube of just like the most impressive bits of the fight, gore and violence. But it's not even a short film. I think this was 2 hours as well. It's not it was dragging out a bit as well. It's just does not have either the content or really the interest to maintain over that length. Just to sum it up, one of the tweets we got in was from the Exploding Helicopter podcast at Chopper Fireball on Twitter, who says, "The Night Comes for Us has some impressive fight scenes, but the story and characters are so unengaging, it's like watching an extended martial arts demonstration," which is entirely right. It would be far more enjoyable as a film if this were simply just the martial arts demonstration and only had the good grace to take up 10 to 15 minutes of your time rather than 2 hours of just convoluted, nonsensical plots and characters with motivations that don't seem to make any kind of sense to anyone. Yeah, just a real disappointment. I'd allowed myself to build up hopes for this a little bit based on the kind of Twitter feedback I'd been getting and some of the reviews from one of the fests, Fantastic Fest, or whatever one this came out at a while back, and there was some people saying it was a really great martial arts film, and I was really looking forward to one because it's been a while since I've seen one like this, but this ain't it. No, not even for genre fans I could recommend this. No, just skip this one too.
Yep. Sad to say, but it's true.